Good day, everyone. My name is Florence Opudole, and you are watching the Multicultural channel, Community Hour. I come from a culture where community defines the people. Community is everything. My culture believes that a thriving community is the foundation for fulfilling life potential. We therefore place huge emphasis on making our community strong. The show is about our community, your community. Today we are joined by Towela Mkanda, a dynamic leader in community development, policy advocacy, and wellness. As the Executive and Policy Development Coordinator for the Coalition of Manitoba Cultural Communities for Families, she is dedicated to amplifying marginalized voices and shaping inclusive policies. With a background in global political economy, Towela blends her global perspective with hands-on leadership, bridging cultural and institutional gaps. She is also the founder and CEO of Warm Heart of Africa, redefining accessible wellness through inclusive health programs. A passionate advocate and transformational leader, Towela's work continues to create lasting impact across Canada and beyond. So welcome to the show, Towela.
Thank you very, very much.
We are excited to have you here join us today.
It's my pleasure.
And viewers at home, we are finally coming to the end of Black History Month. And today we have no other person that we could call to talk about how the journey of being a Black woman in Canada and in Manitoba. So Towela, if you don't mind, can you tell us about your journey to becoming who you are today?
Yeah, so it started when I was 5 years old. I remember when we first landed here, my dad greeting us with a big bag. In my head, it was a garbage bag. I don't think it was maybe shopping bags. Just remember my dad having big bags and meeting us at the airport.
Wow.
And so from what we were wearing, we had to put on these big layers, walking out of the airport feeling like maybe a marshmallow, just so puffy. Then walking outside. I remember watching Home Alone, but I never made the connection of the snow. I thought the snow was salt. I was like, wow, they're so rich here. They just have salt everywhere on the ground. So that was my first impression of Canada. I'm like, I don't understand why there's salt everywhere, but maybe they don't know where to put it. And so, and just being very hot and uncomfortable leaving the airport. And then soon understanding that being very hot and uncomfortable was my only option to be outside, or you're going to get sick and freeze. But it was just so different. Like first getting here and being a small child, it just was nothing like where I came from. And we went straight to Univillage. And so there's a lot of Africans already there. And so it didn't feel very off, but it was really interesting having the other cultures also integrated, like a lot of Indians, a lot of Chinese, and like Filipino. And so my perspective of Canada has always been multicultural. It's never just been mono. Like I've never just seen Caucasians or Africans. It's always been a really, really wide variety and different experiences and different cuisines and different music. And so, yeah, I think going straight to Univillage from the airport was very, very a good representation of what Canada is now.
Wow, that's interesting. And I'm so happy you mentioned that, because a lot of time people also don't talk about what we gain from the diversity we have in Manitoba, especially in Manitoba being a multicultural city or multicultural community. And I know that the whole Canada is multicultural, but I think when we are in Winnipeg, or growing up in Winnipeg, we kind of experience it more than every other province. Or maybe I just have the bragging right to say that. But yeah, I hear you. And I used to visit Univillage at that time.
Yes.
I have a family that was living there.
You came to the birthdays.
Exactly. It is truly multicultural. So to the viewers at home, can you tell us how that affected your thought process?
Yeah, so it was good and bad, honestly. I won't just speak about the flowers. There was obviously still some stereotypes and things like that. I think for some people, just being a person with a darker complexion, you're a threat. And so having some families actually say, you can't spend time with these kids because they're Black, because they're African, just that blatantly. And then as a kid, you know, you feel that and you take it home. But I'm so lucky to have the parents that I have and to have the community that we have, because right away, my dad would take me and be like, why are you upset? You seem to be off. And then that's nothing to do with you. You're a proud young woman and carry yourself as such. If people don't want to spend time with you, that's their loss, because you're amazing in these and these ways. And so, yes, there was those hardships. Of course, people are people no matter where you are. But then the beauty of all the, like, it was like folklorama every day.
I can imagine.
Can you imagine? And so we had the family room in the first floor. That's where all the birthdays and all the events happen. I promise you, every single weekend, there was something going in there. The room was booked all Saturday, all Sunday. And it was never exclusive. Maybe some things were very, very exclusive. But usually if you see a kid with their head at the window looking for, you know, you're going to let them in. You're going to invite them to try some food, dance with the music. And so the exposure that I've had to East Indian culture, cuisine, music, Chinese, Filipino, and even Indigenous is substantial. And I know I could not have gotten that anywhere else in the world. I'm confident. I'll also brag about that. I'm confident I could not have gotten that anywhere else in the world.
Wow, good to know. Thank you so much for saying that. And it's I'm interested in knowing when your family, when you were growing up, how did your family relate with your community, and how did your community, what role did they play in your growing up?
Yeah, and so the Malawian community is very, very small. When we first got here, the only other family we knew were actually my dad's best friend in high school. Imagine.
Okay.
Yeah, the only other Malawian family in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. My dad's best friend in high school. So naturally, we're very, very close. It also just happens that the kids are of the same genders and the same ages. Very, very close. Everything meshed. All the celebrations were spent together, Christmases, holidays, and all of that.
So you really didn't have like a big community like everyone?
At all. It was maybe literally 10 of us.
Wow.
Yeah, the 5 of them. Well, the mom's actually not Malawian, so I would say the 9 of us who would meet as the Malawians. But then I've seen it grow, slowly grow. And even now, I've had people say, oh my goodness, you're from Malawi. Do you know this other family? And it's so nice and shocking and be like, I don't. I'm like, I have no idea who they are, right? And so it's growing, but for a very, very long time, it was very mono, just us.
Just you.
Yeah, it was lonely, but also inclusive, right?
When you talk about the Uni Village, I think Uni Village, the reason why I'm bringing it up, viewers at home, is that it's supposed to be like a townhouse or so, and townhouses, okay? But then you talked about many other communities living there, many people from different countries living there, providing you that natural background that helped you to grow up. But my next question is, what made you think of spending your time and experience to enrich your community now that as a grown woman? Did that affect? You talked about the connections you had with it growing up in that Uni Village.
Yeah.
Did it help you to be who you are today, or help you make that decision to give back to the community?
Yes, and so choice is an interesting word.
Yeah.
With folklorama, I would say it's more of an obligation from our perspective. Yeah. And so it was really, I would say, mostly my dad. My dad, and then his good friend, the other Malawian man, as to where we were a very, very, very small group, but I don't even know how they managed. I have some memories of them being very, very stubborn, but the fact that our small country has our flag on the Akomi, you know, with all the countries, I remember those conversations. I know how annoying they were to make sure that we were represented.
Yeah.
And so they've always been very, very strong Malawian. So even in folklorama, my dad right away, he wanted us to have a Malawian dance group. I'm like, me and who? Me and the one other daughter. It's going to be the 2 of us,
small,
you know? And so instead they put us with Zambia. Yeah, because they also speak Nyanja. They're like the closest thing, Rhodesia. So from the time I was maybe 5, 6 years old, I started dancing for Zambia, and then just through folklore at different things. Like we had the daycare, selling ice cream, doing the cashier, the kitchen with Auntie Maggie. You know, it's more of a duty. It's a rite of passage. And then moving to backstage with Tolu and Muba, and then also emceeing. It's just, honestly, wherever you guys needed me.
That's where you are. And that's truly the community spirit that we talk about.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Towela. Viewers at home, we are lucky to have as our guest today, Towela Mkanda, who volunteers for the ACOMI, African Communities of Manitoba. Towela graduated from University of Manitoba here, and since her graduation, she's been devoting her time to building her own community. So thank you once again. I just wanted to revert back to your growing up as a Black youth. Is there any time you ever feel different?
Yes, of course. I feel different just knowing, but like with growing up in the kind of multicultural, with different ethnicities, you're aware that you're different, but it's kind of how you want to move about life. Like for me, my difference has always been my superpower. I have a very unique style. I have a very unique way of thinking and very unique way of speaking. And so I've just used that to amplify my voice and to amplify the voice of those that need. And I've allowed it to take me to the spaces that I need to be. And it's taken me here with you today.
Wow.
Yeah, and so being different isn't a bad thing. Being different,
No. It actually makes us stronger and better in our presentation of things and ourselves. I wanted to ask you a question on, or maybe shed more light on what, I know you are into many things, but I want you to tell us about Warm Hearts of Africa.
The Warm Heart of Africa. So that's the nickname from Malawi.
Oh, yes. I never knew that.
That's how I chose it. So the Warm Heart of Africa is Malawi's nickname because of the people. Yeah, regardless of what we're facing, we try to be warm towards ourselves, most importantly, because it starts inside and then the beauty and the radiance radiates out.
Okay.
And then we try to be warm to each other, your community, but also any outsiders or anybody else, because life is hard on its own. You don't know what people are facing. And so if there's one thing you can do is just don't make anybody's life harder.
Okay.
You know, you don't need to be an active participant, but don't make people's lives harder. So we like to be called the Warm Heart because we like to be warm and to be good and to be actively good in people's lives.
And is this an organization that you
This is an NGO.
NGO?
Yeah, okay. So I provide wellness resources to underserved communities. I mostly like working with children and with seniors in rural Manitoba, and I do some work also back home in Malawi, but anywhere that I can. And so with the Congress of Black Women, with the Council of Women of Winnipeg, and with ACOMI.
You are a busy lady.
Yeah, so any wellness resources, yoga, meditation, and if I can connect them to different organizations too, any way I can help.
I wanted you to talk to our viewers about how you see, what do you see as the way forward for young Black folks growing up in our society today? I mean, with your own experience, I'm sure you had a very supportive parents, you had supportive environment, you made friends, you reached out across the aisle, and you were able to connect with all the diversity. But some people don't. And what do you see is the challenges that people or youth or young people growing up in that kind of a setting will face? What's the challenges that you think they will face?
Well, just coming from Dakota, from the high school, so hearing some of the things that the kids already are facing, and some of it is just stereotyping. They were even teaching me some new phrases. They talked about the Jezebel stereotype, which we're aware of. They talked about the Mammy stereotype, and they also talked about the Sapphire, which Sapphire is a new term, but it's the angry Black woman, right? And how
I didn't know that.
And how you're perceived. I had a young woman come to me and say, I'm having these issues, and every time I express myself, I'm perceived as the angry Black woman when that's not how I'm speaking. That's not how I project myself. I know that's not who I am. So do I just stay quiet, or what do I do? Absolutely not. Always, always, always advocate for yourself. Always, always, always. Because if you're going through that, there's probably somebody else who's going through it. And they may be quiet. If you're quiet and they're quiet, that just perpetuates. If you say, this is enough, we're not going to stand for this, that may be all. You may face repercussions, but I promise you it's going to get a little bit softer and easier for the next person. And so there will be stereotypes, there'll be expectations of you. You need to be able to advocate for yourself. You need to stay true in who you are. And remember, at the end of the day, you need to be able to go to sleep, close your eyes, and be at peace with who you are internally. Don't do anything that goes against your morals just because, or in experimenting or things like that. If it doesn't feel good now, it probably won't feel good in a week, in a month or so. And so there's so much. Like, I worry about our youth because of social media. Sometimes I see young black women being over-sexualized, and it makes me very, very nervous. And that's also the Jezebel thing, where it's a circle. It's you over-sexualize these young women, and then you blame them for dressing or acting in this way, when this is the society, this is the culture that you're constructing. And so I say, and I ask, and I plead, don't conform, don't feed into that. Stay true to who you are, stay strong, stay honorable, stay true and close to your morals. It's not easy, but it's not as hard as it's perceived. And so you have to work hard, you have to stay true, because also presenting the way that you present, people may have certain expectations, or may lower the expectations of you. Just work as hard as you absolutely can. Stay true, stay strong, stay proud, and your results will show. Your people will gravitate towards you, and it'll resonate. Like, growing up.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it's.
I'm just listening to you. I'm like, I should be around you more to listen to this. Thank you so much for that. But go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's completely fine.
Yeah.
There's many ways that you can go. Like, I'm so incredibly lucky to have women like you, Auntie Titi, Auntie Maggie, to be able to look forward to. I was also lucky enough to have Tolu and Uzoma coach me basketball and really instill certain ethics and hardworking and things like that. And so looking at people now, seeing where they are, and it's easy to make choices. You could easily just make a small choice without even thinking about it that could affect you for the rest of your life. Or you can make active, conscious steps to be, this is the person that I want to be. Make noise, be loud. You have a story, you have a voice. There is something, but it's also seeing people like you in certain spaces. If I never saw Auntie Titi run for the party a few years ago, for the Conservative Party a few years ago, I wouldn't feel so comfortable being in political spaces and speaking my voice and even just showing up.
Yeah.
You know?
So we need, I guess, if I hear you correctly, for every young person or for young people growing up, it's very, very important that there are also role models that they look up to.
Mentors.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow, thank you for that. I mean, moving on to our next question, because I'm thinking back at that uni village and your experiences. Sorry, I'm going back.
No, it was a good time.
But it provided me a setting that looks like exactly what we all talked about, multiculturalism, right? Do you support Black youth full integration into their new society or partial integration? Knowing that we are from high context cultures. I think one of the reasons why I asked that is that I remember even some cultures, they don't allow their kids greet them like hi or hello, you know? They see an adult, it's like hello. They want them to come close and kind of bow or, you know, just show that respect that they saw an elder and then they greet properly, what they mean properly, right? But in the new culture, saying hello is fine. Coming to you and saying, how are you doing? It's fine, but for some, it will be disrespectful for a child to do that to an adult. So I'm just wondering, talking about Black youth in Manitoba, do you feel that they need full integration or partial integration?
It's difficult to say. And so it's difficult because I'll start with America. There's very, very Black neighborhoods. The names are slipping my mind right now, but that have been destroyed just because, like Black Wall Street, destroyed just because there were Black people succeeding in that environment and in that neighborhood. Then there's also segregation, like schools, like we couldn't be part of things. And so good and bad. And then you bring it here and it's tricky. It's tricky because I'm more traditional, I would say. I know my thinking and my process is more traditional than a lot of my peers. And so I can't say yes to full integration. I can't. I really do think that we have to stay. There's a part of us that's just inherently African, or if you are Indian, there's that part of your culture, which I think it's good and beneficial for youth to stay a part of. But in saying that, you have to be a part of the community that you live in. You can't isolate yourself. You can't live as a separate community living in Winnipeg, Manitoba, right? It's just not effective. It's actually a hindrance to your kids if you're keeping them from certain communities. You're keeping them from resources that will then benefit their lives. But I would say mentorship, it would be so beneficial if I could really, really like paint a nice picture. Like youth would get, doesn't have to be, maybe they should get maybe a Caucasian grandparent and then also have like a traditional African grandparent. Have someone who has lived in Canada 30, 40, 50 years and can show you around and be like, this is how you get this is how you do this, you want this, you want this, you want this. And then when you're going a little bit left or whatever else, just away from your true essence, have someone with that ancestral kind of theme, that voice to call you back and just sit you down and be like, in our culture, in our tradition, these are the things, but also like celebrations and traditions and things like that. Because if we're not the ones carrying it through.
I honestly agree with what you said, because I think, and that is the essence of this program, the Multicultural Hour, Community Hour. In community, there is role for everybody. Everybody has a role. And when I talk about integration, I think, what are we integrating into? And if you have a strong parent like your dad, who is behind you, following you all through, watching your experiences, explaining things to you, I think it helps the child to adapt better in their new society. And on that, I feel that even when we talk about integration, we also have to talk about the strong role parents can play in ensuring that the integration is balanced. That the integration is balanced. And again, the community around you also helps you to integrate into these things properly, right? They shape you as you go in.
The balance is so
I think the balance is what we need. I do like you. I do not agree total integration, but I also do not like not integrating at all. So there has to be a balance in all things, and knowing who you are, like you said, your essence. Don't lose it. Bring it into the mix.
Exactly.
That will help. Thank you, Towela. Viewers at home, it's so exciting to have the one and only Towela Mkanda with us today. She is very active in our community, teaching yoga classes, helping out at the ACOMI, African Communities of Manitoba, talking with youth, empowering young women and young girls to be who they are, to be free, to be who they are. And so we are so excited to have her join us today. So Towela, again, I cannot overemphasize on what we have benefited or what the community is gaining from being who you are. And I think a lot of our girls out there will like to come closer or would like to know. So do you have anything, or if you can tell our viewers how they can reach you, or if anybody have children that that they feel will be interested in what you are doing, how to connect with you?
And so I'll be doing some fundraising, actually. I just got selected as a delegate.
Yes.
I want to say for Miss Universe. And so super excited, very, very honored. And so I'll be doing some fundraising. mostly through a Akomi. And so you could always look on the website for that. You could reach out to me directly through any of my social media, emails, phone. But we'll have some wellness programs starting at Akomi. We have a wellness club. Every Sunday, we will have different wellness groups. And so starting this Sunday, we have a knitting club and chair yoga. So
what time? What time of the day?
Chair yoga at 4 p.m.
Okay.
It's about 4 to 4:30, and then the knitting club from 5 to 6.
Okay.
And so kind of integrating both. And then the following weekend, it would be family yoga. So kids and parents. And then also we're doing dance, like Afro-pop dance with Marcia Torres. She's married now. She's a married woman with Marcia Torres at Afro-pop Fitness.
Yeah.
And that will be just once a week. We're going to do that on the weekends. And then we're hoping to integrate some more classes during the week as we go if people are wanting and interested. And so that's completely free. Akomi's providing the space for us. So we're not charging anybody. We will take some donations to pay for our instructors and to pay rent to Akomi to give money back to the community. But pay what you can. We also want to make sure that fitness and wellness is accessible to all, and that income and finances aren't a barrier, because we all deserve to be well and healthy. And so don't worry about money. Don't worry about the kids making noise. Grandparents, kids, parents, friends, cousins, aunties, nieces, absolutely everyone is welcome. Please come. We would love to be a part of your fitness and wellness journey.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, Towela. I have a few more questions I really love to ask. But before then, I just wanted to ask, how did you get to being a delegate to Miss Universe? That's exciting.
It is. It's very, very exciting.
Oh, wow.
I know. Even it seems more real now that I'm talking about it. But even then, not really. And so, like, which part? How do you want me to start?
I'm like, what gave you the idea to even try? One of the reasons I ask is that a lot of young women feel so insecure, feel they are not good enough, feel, I'm not pretty enough, this is not that, they always diminish themselves. So, but for you, how did you manage to get to that level where you feel like you can, do anything?
I am my father's daughter.
Wow. I like that. Same with me. Yeah.
And so I feel like I was born with a crown on my head.
Wow.
Yeah, and so I've always been treated as such. And so for me, it was always, that has been instilled with me. And it's good because it kind of builds like a force field around you. And you know that what other people are saying is a reflection of them. And it's nothing really to do with you. Exactly. And so like nothing has really been there. But I'm not perfect. I am human. And bullying is a thing. Like I haven't always felt very confident. I haven't always felt very beautiful. But it's the people that you keep around you. And like almost every interaction, not many interactions are neutral. Either people will give you energy or they will take energy.
Yeah.
And so being very, 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 very conscious of who I spend time with, who I give my energy to, and also who you share things and your hopes and your dreams, because someone can give you energy or they can destroy those dreams. And I've been very, very, very fortunate to have women like you and just build. Not saying that there haven't been people actively trying to tear me down, but I can say that with my community, with my mentors, it's like a force field, honestly. Like I am this woman because you make me feel like this woman, And so I'm grateful. Like, please, if you need mentors, if you need community support, please reach out to Akomi, Black History Month, also the Congress of Women of the Black Congress of Women of Manitoba, the Council of Women of Winnipeg. Like there's so many of these groups that really helped fortify the person that I am.
Wow, thank you so much. You said it so nicely. You are your father's daughter.
Yes.
Daddy's daughter. And this brings me to...
Oh, sorry. Also, My dad's sister was Miss Malawi. I need to add that on the file. So
Okay.
I was born with a crown, but also the crown has already been worn in the family. You know, she's
The
already
family. Oh,
walked
that's
the
nice.
path, and just knowing that someone, it's good to see representation, right?
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
another Black woman has won a crown like this in Canada. Yes, check.
Wow.
And then my own auntie, like, you know,
Yeah.
so accessible. She's passed on since, may God rest her soul, but
Wow.
always with her. I feel her presence every single day. Even when I was filling out the applications, my interview just happened to be on my birthday. And I was like, Auntie, I see your thing. I see what you're doing. And once I realized that the interview was on my birthday, I knew check. Like interview, like application, check. Okay, it's in. Interview, they've asked you, check. They've scheduled the interview for your birthday. Okay, I think there's something happening here.
Supernatural going on there. Thank you for sharing that with us. And this brings me to the point of the role of fathers in the community. This month is Black History Month. As we round up the Black History Month, I just want to point out again, viewers at home, if you are a father, if you are an uncle, if you are a man listening, you have a role in your family to make our community great. Towela has shared with us about how the dad supported her in what she's doing. I also am a daddy's girl, and I think I was born with a crown on my head as well, even though I never won one. But yeah, it's so...
You're wearing one now.
we cannot overemphasize the role of fathers or men in our community. You have a role to play. You have a big role to play in the life of your daughters and in the life of your kids. So thank you for pointing that out. Before we close, moving forward, do you see any future challenges for, firstly, as a Black woman?
Yeah.
And, you know, for all the young people
so
in Canada.
Like I mentioned, the stereotypes will always exist. But in saying that, I say give people grace. Sometimes the way people are thinking and the way that they're speaking is conditioned and so hardwired in their brain and in their psyche that they may not know any better. That's why it's so important to have an accurate version of yourself and not somebody else's version.
Wow.
Right? So not what society is telling you. What I say in every single yoga class, what we're doing is we're adding space. We're adding space in your body so you feel more comfortable sitting, walking, dancing, doing whatever you do physically every single day. More importantly, space between your thoughts, slowing down that monkey mind. And so we all have these expectations, these roles, these duties, these things that we have to do. What happens when you can quiet all of that and just move as yourself and move rightly and properly? And so whatever it may be, it doesn't have to be yoga with me. I just encourage everybody, be active, do something, whether it's dancing, swimming, running, jumping jacks, and then take a few moments and just be mindful, whether you're journaling and just breathing, meditating, but it has to come from inside, because outside, life will never be perfect. There will always be things that are upsetting you, getting to you, whether people are being intentional about it or not. There will always be issues.
Yes.
You have to be tough internally in here and up here and give people grace, knowing a lot of the times it's not even anything to do with you. It could be they're just having a bad day or somebody has treated them in that way, or, and so don't take too many things personally, but advocate for yourself. Know that stereotypes exist. You don't have to conform to them. Be active in perpetuating actions that are against those type of stereotypes. Don't like things on social media or post or really encourage negative behavior. You can post something about hugs, love, joy, and peace, or you can post something that's going to make people feel maybe not at peace or disturb their peace or do anything like that. So just be very intentional and be active, be an active participant in creating that peace and that joy in your life. And then that will radiate to others in your community and your circle.
Do you give talks in schools? Do they invite you to talk to schools?
He goes at Dakota.
Please do, because I think our young kids growing up, will benefit from all this. Because I have kids myself. I mean, they are all grown adults now, but they also have pressures. I see them struggling with pressures from social media. You know, they cannot post this, or they have to like this, or they don't want to like this because they don't want the person to feel. And I'm like, you can't live your life that way. I don't think about social media when I'm doing my things, but that's me. That's my time. For the young ones, it looks like there's a lot of social pressures on our children. And in our community, we want to address such things. And we have today Towela Mkanda, who is open and available for you to talk to if you ever need to. If you're a family struggling with a child or with any part of the family, you can come talk to her at her coming. And I'm sure she will be able to give some insight into how you can go about your issues. So thank you so much for that. Going back to that uni village and the policies that Canada have right now. You came at the age of 5 and now you are who you are, a grown woman, successful, doing things. Looking back then and now, do you think Canada is moving in the right direction?
No.
Okay. They are not? Okay. So what do they need to change?
They need to integrate more cultural communities.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel as though there's a very top-down approach with how things are created. There's not very much collaboration. And so feeling a very top-down approach, like parent-child, as to where I know some things.
Yeah.
I went to school, you know, I read some books. I think I know what works well for my life and what kind of policies I'd like to see for our kids, for our seniors and things like that. And so Canada, Manitoba, I would say we have a little bit of a better chance.
Okay.
A little bit of a better chance because who we have as premier and deputy premier, we have people of color who I know are more open to having those conversations with communities of color and cultured communities. And so I think Manitoba is progressing. Canada as a whole, I think we have a lot more work to do. But in saying that, we all have work to do as people, you know, like we are in a lot better position than other states, other countries, other nations, right? And so the thing that I don't necessarily like is Canada is sometimes looked at as a utopia. And so people look at Canada and they're like, Canada, the land of the free, you know, like in Canada, you have free healthcare, you know, kids go to school for free in elementary and things like that. But also some healthcare, you get what you pay for, as to where we don't have the best healthcare, you know, like sometimes it is more beneficial for people to fly to XYZ to just go pay to have this remedied as opposed to waiting 2 years for a CAT scan, you know. And so I love this nation. I came back for a reason. I had packed everything. Probably 70% of my belongings are in Malawi. You can ask anybody in my family. During COVID, I actually migrated back home and was setting up. If it wasn't for my mom needing me here, and just amazing how life works, you know, I would do anything for her. And so as soon as she's like, Towe, I need you, right? And came completely back. But wanted to build home. But then as I'm building home, you have really good conversations with people who really, really love you and only want what's best for you. Asking me why, a lot of whys. Why are you leaving Canada? Why this? And it makes you reflect. And me realizing all the grants we have, all these opportunities. Yeah. It's maybe not a utopia in the way that people perceive, in the kind of a naive way, but for the opportunities that we have, Manitoba, so multicultural, being able to learn about all these different communities, like Folklorama is like a passport around the world within within 2 weeks. And like, that's not happening anywhere else in Canada or the world. And so I love this nation and will always criticize us in terms of being better, but also knowing and understanding that we are doing a lot better and in a lot better space than other people, but it's not perfect. It's not a utopia. And we have a lot of work to do with cultured communities, with indigenous communities. Not even going to get into that right now. We don't have the time, but we still have a lot of work to do. It makes me so uncomfortable that the people of this land, the actual Aboriginals, are still not in a position where they're being seen, heard, or even nourished and advocated in the right way. And so love our nation. Let's please do better. We can. I know we can.
Thank you so much. I forgot to mention that Towela is also the Executive and Policy Development Coordinator for the Coalition of Manitoba Cultural Communities for Families. And I guess that's why you are more stressing on policies. So thank you so much. And the last question, if you had to make a wish for Canada as a Black youth, Black woman, growing up in Canada or that have grown up in Canada, what would be your wish?
Ooh, our wish is for all of us to get the same opportunities. And so just that even playing field, right? And so everybody to have a seat at the table, to be able to just pull up a chair and to be a part of conversations. Like if you want to compete for something, it should just be neutral and everybody is starting at zero and moving forward. And so I just hope for more inclusion. Inclusion, I would say, is the biggest thing. Inclusion and fairness and equity for all. But it would be nice to just see a world where we're all flourishing, regardless of how you look, where you're from, how you speak.
It come at a very good time saying this because in this time, there's a lot of calls for DIA to be done away with. And with what you just said, do you think it's realizable?
That
Equal playing field. Equal playing field.
Equal playing field, yes, for sure. The thing that I had against DEI, which may be a little bit controversial, is why did we ever need that in the first place? You know, like as also a young Black woman, I have been told not only by my parents, but also by the community, you're going to have to work harder to prove yourself. That just is what it is. And so I'm working almost double as some of my counterparts. And then you're telling me even then on top of that, you have to create a policy for me to be seen as neutral. And so I feel it is what it is. As to where if that wasn't created, then I may not even be seen. I could be working 3 times as hard as it may not be seen. But why do we need that in the first place? So I would say first, combating the structures so we don't need policies like that.
Yeah. And I also think maybe one aspect that DEI can come in place is ensuring that every workplace, does things fair on equitable platform, making sure that when you are hiring the best and not based on names or whatever you think, whatever that is in front of you, but making sure that you are looking at the qualities, the experience, of what the job actually needs. But yeah, I don't want to have the final thought. But
in saying that, then I would just ask for organizations, if you're able to, just try to not be so mono, have a more heterogeneous approach. And so if you do have even a Black woman who is the HR and hiring, maybe then have a white man as her assistant or an Asian man, an Indian man as her assistant in the hiring process. Because you still, like, even me, I have my own internal biases. It may not even be conscious, And so I just say variety, variety. And so get other opinions, get other thoughts, but it should never be a monoculture. If it's just like one way, then I would say you need to start asking questions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming to this show. We truly value your being here, your presence to our show. So viewers at home, thank you for joining us. You are watching the Multicultural channel. Please join us once again in our next show as we present another guest to our show. Thank you so much to our guest, Towela Mkanda, who has graciously been here to explain to us, tell us about her journey coming to Canada at the age of 5 and living through it and be where she is today as the executive director of Warm for Africa?
Warm Heart of Africa.
Warm Heart of Africa. Yeah, sorry about that. Warm Heart of Africa. It's been an exciting time talking with you, and we hope you do well and you continue with the great work you are doing.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for your influence. Thank you for your mentorship. Thank you for your grace and for your presence in my life.
You're welcome. Thank you. So viewers at home, thank you for watching the You Multicultural channel. It's been an exciting day today, and thank you for staying through with us. Please join us once again next time on our show as we bring another guest to talk to us about our community and how to make our community great.